Hello, my name's Susan and I'm the Chief Executive of Vista. Vista is an independent charity that specialises in providing support for people affected by sight loss. And I'd like to start by saying thank you to you if you've provided us with any support in the last 6 months or before then to help us do what we do best. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to the Stonygate Eye Hospital, who provided us so generously with their support and their skills to put together this series of clinical information videos about the different causes of sight loss, and I hope you found those interesting. I am not a doctor, I'm not a specialist, and I certainly can't deliver life-changing surgery, but I do believe that Vista changes lives. Sight loss affects thousands of people and is often a hidden disability. And for a community of people who navigate by touch, COVID has been particularly challenging. I want to tell you 3 stories, if I may, that make my point about life change. The first is about a Sri Lankan lady who was 21 when she moved to the UK. And she got married and she created a home and she fed and she nurtured and she cared for her children and then later for her grandchildren and her neighbours and her friends and the pastor at the church. And feeding them and nurturing them and providing them with a home environment was hugely important to her and a huge part of who she was. And then her sight began to fail and she started to cut herself and she started to burn herself and she started to spill things. And her daughters, who love her very much, said, "Mum, you have always looked after us. We will now look after you." And they put Mum in a chair with a cup of tea and the radio and they looked after her. But when we went to talk to her, that lady was utterly lost. She had lost all sense of her own role in life and her identity. So with some support and some training and some practice and some interesting experiments with spice measurements, she is now cooking again for her friends and her family, her children, her grandchildren, and now her great-grandchildren, as well as the neighbours and the pastor. Now, is that a little thing? Or is that a great big life-changing thing? My second story is about a man I call Fred. And when we first went to see Fred, who lost his sight, he did not need our help. He was not going to use a white stick, thank you very much. He did not need the special glasses. He didn't need anything that mother couldn't do for him and fetch for him. Okay, nobody's going to be forcing him to sport. So we chat to the man for a bit. What is it he misses? Turns out what Fred misses is meeting his friends after work on a Friday. Now, Fred does use a white stick. And Fred uses that stick to get to the pub at the top of the street, where he meets his friends on a Friday lunchtime and he tells the stories and the jokes and the secrets that he doesn't want his wife to hear. Now, is that a little thing? Or is that a big thing? My third story is about a lady my age who had partial sight from birth, coped, had some support at school, an education, got a job, and her sight started to deteriorate. She went to her optometrist, referred to the hospital, and was referred into our low vision service, where we gave her some gadgets and some information about coping strategies and adaptations. She wrote to me, not to tell me that their staff were brilliant, although she did, and not to tell me that we'd made a huge difference, although she acknowledged that we had. But she wrote to tell me that she was writing that letter wearing the first pair of knickers she'd chosen for herself in her entire life. Now, is that a little thing? Or is that a big thing? See, I think these are big things. These are the things that define us, that give us our self-worth, sense of value and place, and they build our confidence and they keep us communicating and connecting with our friends and our families and our neighbours. So that's what Vista does. Throughout National Eye Health Week, we've been having activities and briefing events to raise awareness about eye health and sight loss. And if you know anyone that we could help, please do signpost them to us. You can find our information by scrolling down on this screen or searching online. And if you can help us to help someone else, then please click the donate button and give what you can. Thank you for helping us to make a difference.